Well, NFL free agency is officially underway. We have a ton of free agents to talk about. Let's start with Mike Evans, probably the biggest signing of the week, going to the 49ers. He says he got a second win. He calls it a no-brainer. He seems very excited. It's a 3-year contract worth $42 million. It could reach up to $60 million with incentives. He said he felt it was the best decision for him football-wise. He wanted to go to a team that always competes for championships. The Niners, of course, were 12-5 last year. They've been competitive for quite a while under Coach Kyle Shanahan. Evans says he felt like they were one piece away last year despite all of their injuries, and he said, quote, "I think I am that piece. I look forward to coming here and proving that." Now, he is 33 years old. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's obviously coming off the worst season and the most injury-riddled season of his career, but I think he can still be a productive player. We'll have to see how this works out for the Niners and for Mike Evans, but it is a big move, and it makes me think San Francisco, they are going for it. For Tampa Bay, I'm not so sure Tampa Bay is moving in the right direction. I kind of feel like Tampa Bay, they might be moving in the wrong direction. Another big signing, Travis Etienne is going to the New Orleans Saints. This one is another. I think Etienne is a good move. He's had some up years and some down years. He'll join potentially Alvin Kamara, although it's not clear if Kamara is actually going to return to the Saints or not. But Etienne, this is a good signing. It's a good signing for the Saints. I like this move a lot. Etienne with the Jaguars. In his rookie season, he went for 1,125 yards and 5 touchdowns. That was actually probably his best season. In his second year in 2023, he also goes for over 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns. But then in 2024, just 558 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he kind of had a down year in 24. And then last year, 2025, in his fourth season in Jacksonville, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. He also caught 6 touchdowns, 292 yards. So he scored 13 touchdowns, the most of his career last year. He's going to get paid. He's going to get some money now in New Orleans. I think for New Orleans, it points to the fact that, look, they are trying to improve. They're trying to give Tyler Shuck the pieces he needs on that offense, and they want to win some games next year. And I get it. It's an easy division. They feel like, yeah, we can go for it and actually win this division. So, honestly, I respect it coming out of the Saints. For the Jaguars, I'm not sure how you're going to replace this loss. It's kind of a big one, but we'll just have to see what the Jaguars decide to do. And another big piece of free agency news, Tua Tagovailoa, he is headed to the he's headed to the Atlanta Falcons from the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins decided to release him a couple days ago, and now he's headed to Atlanta where he will, I guess, be the starter for a while. I'm not sure. Michael Penix Jr. is, I believe, going to be injured to start the season, so Tua's going to get a shot. It's a 1-year contract, I believe. It's a prove-it deal. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, honestly, to me. From the Falcons' perspective, why would you pay Tua when you just decided you didn't want to pay Kirk Cousins? And I think Cousins is a better quarterback than Tua at this stage in both of their careers. Tua really struggled last year. I don't think he's a long-term starter, but he is going to get a chance. He's going to get a chance with Atlanta. And, there's every possibility in the world that, even if Michael Penix eventually is the starter, Penix hasn't proven himself either. He could easily get benched. And I just feel like this is definitely one of those scenarios where there's not really a clear answer. Unfortunately, that usually means when you have 2 quarterbacks, you only have one. You have no quarterbacks. That's kind of the common phrase. But it's a $15 million contract, 1-year deal. And we'll just have to see how it shakes out for Tua. This is his chance to redeem himself and establish a legacy away from Miami. We'll see if it works out. Now, the Rams are just out here collecting former Chiefs defensive backs like Infinity Stones. They just traded for Trent McDuffie. Now they've signed Jalen Watson. So the Rams are beefing up their secondary as they want to really prepare for that Super Bowl run. And like I've been talking about, the Rams are clearly trying to make a run at a Super Bowl. They do not want to waste Matthew Stafford's last year. They want to take advantage of it. And what that means is that they're going to go out and make some big name signings. They're going to go make some big free agent pushes. One of those guys apparently is going to be Jalen Watson. So they've added McDuffie. They've added now Jalen Watson, trying to beef up that defense. I don't think the Rams liked that Sam Darnold shredded them in the playoffs. I really do not think they liked watching Sam Darnold go out and throw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions against them in the NFC Championship game. And remember, that is what Darnold did. So I think they watched that game and said, you know what, we need to completely revamp our secondary, and that's what they're doing this offseason. So you know what, credit to them. They're doing exactly what they probably need to do to improve their team. A lot of teams don't have the balls to do that. The Rams, they're doing it. They're going out, making the moves. I like it. The Jets are making moves defensively. They went out and signed Joseph Osai as well as Demario Davis. So the Jets are actually making some moves here. Joseph Osai, the former Bengal, now headed to the New York Jets, a Nigerian football player. He goes on, I believe it's a $36 million contract. So good payday for him as he's headed to New York. And then we also have Demario Davis headed to the Jets as well. And I guess, was that a trade or a signing? It was a signing. He signed a 2 year, $22 million deal. The veteran linebacker, former Saint, now headed over to New York. So I like to see the Jets making moves. It seems to me like every time the Jets try to do this, the moves end up backfiring and the Jets end up getting worse. But it's hard to get worse than where they were at last year. They have the number 2 pick, and they, we'll see how they do, but they're trying to improve. So credit to them. I like when teams try to improve, try to get better, try to take advantage of the cap space that they have. And that's what the Jets are doing, so we'll see if it works this time around. Tampa Bay is also out here making moves. They may have lost Mike Evans, but they just signed Kenneth Gainwell and Alex Anzalone. Kenneth Gainwell, the former Pittsburgh Steeler running back, he's now headed to Tampa Bay, where he will probably be the third stringer. He signed a 2 year, $14 million deal. Bucky Irving is obviously still there, and I believe Rashad White is still there as well. So, not sure exactly how Gainwell will fit into the mix, but he will be in the mix in some capacity. And then Alex Anzalone, the former Detroit Lion, he also heading to Tampa Bay on a 2 year, $17 million contract. He's the guy with the long, flowing blonde hair. Kind of reminds me of the guy who used to be over in Green Bay, Jordy Nelson. He kind of looks like him, but it's a $17 million deal for 2 years, and this will help out the Tampa Bay defense. Tampa Bay's defense was pretty bad last year. They're going to need to do a lot of heavy lifting. I don't think Anzalone is enough. I do think it's a good start for Tampa Bay, and we'll see how much else they're able to do to make up for that Mike Evans loss. That's still a huge loss to lose him. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears signing former Seahawk and former Super Bowl champion Kobe Bryant. This is one of those contracts where I think, you know what, Kobe Bryant's a good player. As a Seahawks fan, he's a good player. I don't think he's worth 3 year, $40 million, $25 million guaranteed, a $12 million signing bonus. It's an average value of $13 million a year. That seems like an overpay to me. Again, he's a good safety. I don't think he's worth that. I think this is a classic example of player wins Super Bowl and then gets overpaid the next season in free agency. Seahawks would have loved to have him back, but not at that price point, I don't think. And so it makes sense that they would not have wanted to match that. The Bears are going to get a good player, a scrappy guy, a guy who's improved a lot over his time. He was obviously a Pete Carroll selection in the draft a couple of years ago. He has improved and improved and improved, and gotten to a point where he was a key member of that Super Bowl defense. I still don't think he is a $40 million player, though. So that's the sort of thing where, congrats on winning the Super Bowl, you get overpaid, and there you go. You get the benefits. That is the benefit of winning the Super Bowl right there. I actually think the more intriguing former Seahawk to get a new contract is Boye Mafe. He is going to the Bengals, and I guess he's going to replace Trey Hendrickson there, which is interesting. He signs a 3 year, $60 million deal with the Bengals. It's $20 million average value. It'll go through the 2028 season. People are clowning on this because he only had 2 sacks last year. I think what people don't realize is he is a better player than he was last year. A. B. He only started 4 games. So when in 2023 he started 16 games, he had 9 sacks. 2024 he started 11 games, he had 6. Last year he started 4 games and only had 2 sacks, but he still had quite a few assists, quite a few tackles. He's only 27 years old. He's going to continue to get better, I think. And he also was a part of a really good defensive line. Last year, the Seahawks didn't need him to get a bunch of sacks. They didn't need him to start a bunch of games. They needed him to just play his game and be a role player, and that's what he was. He was a really good role player. But he's also proven previously in previous seasons he can be that guy who starts every game and gets 8 to 10 sacks. So I think this is a pretty good signing for the Bengals. People are calling it an overpay. Again, it's probably a slight overpay, but I think this is less of an overpay than than the Kobe Bryant overpay with the Bears. I actually think this one could actually look pretty good for the Bengals if he can get production for them the way that he was able to produce in Seattle the past 2 years. Not necessarily this latest year when he only had the 2 sacks, but if he can get 9, 6, 7 sacks in the next 3 seasons, it's worth it for the Bengals to make this signing. And the Seahawks, on the other hand, they did lose Mafe. They obviously lose Mafe and Kobe Bryant, but they did get back two of their own. They re-signed Rashid Shaheed. That is a big deal. Rashid Shaheed played a huge, huge role in that Super Bowl run. He was a midseason trade. He just signed a 3-year, $51,000 contract with the Seahawks and a $17,000 average value. One of the best deep threats in the league. One of the best punt returners and kick returners in the league. He had an incredible playoff run with Seattle. Obviously, with New Orleans last year, he ends up going for 11 yards per catch, but in 2024, 17 yards per catch. Last year, he had 687 yards, 188 with Seattle, just 2 touchdowns. But what he really mattered for was the kicking and the punting and all of that. With the Seahawks, he had a punt return touchdown and a kick return touchdown in the regular season. And then if you look to the playoffs, he continued to do well in the playoffs. He had a kick return touchdown, a 95-yard kick return touchdown in the playoffs, also with a couple of punt returns that went for an average of about 10 yards per return. He only had 3 catches in the playoffs, but they went for 78 yards, 3 catches for 78 yards on 10 targets. But yeah, this is a guy who his key is the special teams combined with just the pure speed on the edge makes him one of the best and most dangerous receivers in the league. And then Seattle also re-signing Jackson Jobe, another guy that they like on that defensive side, and another guy who, he's come up through that system. He was a Pete Carroll draft pick. He's proven himself. He's improved a lot since he got there, and now he signs as well a nice little contract with the Seattle Seahawks. So they get, did I say Jackson Jobe? Josh Jobe with the Seahawks. Jackson Jobe's on the Detroit Tigers. But Josh Jobe, it's a 3-year, $24 million contract, $8 million in average annual value. Again, maybe a small overpay there for winning the Super Bowl, but I think it's a good call for the Seahawks. They needed to make it. They needed to sign somebody and bring somebody back. So I'm glad it's going to be Jobe. Las Vegas Raiders also making more moves. They sign Ravens lineman and Ravens center Tyler Lindblom, a nice signing for them. The Raiders finally learning that you actually have to have a good offensive line to have success, in the NFL. And so he is headed to the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a 3-year deal worth $81 million, including $60 million in guaranteed money. So I think they're pretty excited about that. He's one of the better centers in the league. He's an all-pro center, a Pro Bowl level center. I don't know if he's ever been an all-pro, but yeah, he's a really good player and the sort of guy that you need to have those types of dudes on your team. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler the last 3 seasons, only going to be 26 next year. He's getting paid. You need to have guys like that on your line to actually have success both in the passing and running game. He'll now be protecting, very likely, Fernando Mendoza. So I love this move for the Raiders. They know you're gonna draft a rookie. You know it's gonna be Mendoza. Go get him a veteran, really good offensive lineman to protect him. It makes a lot of sense. And the Titans adding a receiver. They add Wan'Dale Robinson to the receiving squad. Solid move, I think, for the Titans. Wan'Dale Robinson is a good player coming off a career year, and they need some help for Cam Ward. So, yeah, I like this move for the Titans a lot. It's a 4-year, $70 million contract. So what is an average salary of about 17.5? So very similar to what Rashid Shaheed got. I think that's almost a bargain. I think Robinson is a better player than Rashid Shaheed. So the Titans maybe are getting a little bit of a steal here with Wan'Dale Robinson. Of course, that's if he can repeat what he did last year. He had a great season last year. Can he repeat it? I don't know. Last year, 1,014 yards, 4 touchdowns, 11 yards per reception. He was a really good high-volume receiver. Can he do it again with Cam Ward at the helm of this offense? Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. But if he can, then this is a really good signing because I think if he can be a 1,000-yard receiver in Tennessee, $17 million is probably an underpay. The Cardinals, reportedly, they have landed running back Tyler Algier. Another, this is a solid depth move. I don't think he's a starting running back by any means, but I think this is a solid depth move. I think he'll compete with James Conner, I think, for that spot with the Cardinals. And yeah, we'll just have to see. I mean, what happens there. Yeah, certainly not a huge deal, but he's young enough that he could break out. He had a really good season in his rookie year with the Falcons. He just kind of, because Bijan was there, His numbers have gone down in each of the last 3 years. Only 514 yards last year, but he did score 8 touchdowns. And so he's been productive. He's been a guy who can find the end zone, and he's kind of flown under the radar. So now he gets a chance to kind of prove himself in Arizona. He's going to have a chance to be that guy. It's a 2-year, $12.25 million contract, so $6 million average. It's a good move for the Cardinals. Honestly, he's probably worth a little bit more than that based off of what he's shown he's capable of doing. But I think because he's been kind of the number two guy in Atlanta for the past couple of years, it makes his value go down. We'll see if he can bring his value back up over in Arizona. And in some quarterback news, it looks like Malik Willis is headed to Miami. This is a huge contract to give to a backup. So, yeah, really interesting. I guess he's going to be their starter, though. I don't know. For 1 year, maybe. Is he going to compete with Quinn Ewers? It's a 3-year, $67.5 million contract. And I guess, yeah, they do want him to be their starter over Quinn Ewers. I think he'll be replacing Tua. It's a $22.5 million signing bonus, $45 million guaranteed. I don't know how to feel about this. I've never been super high on Malik Willis. I know he had a good game against the Ravens last year for the Packers. I don't see it with him. I don't think he's a NFL starting guy. I think the Dolphins are going to struggle next year with him at the helm. If you look at Malik Willis's stats, his numbers 3-3 in his NFL career with a 67.7% completion, 1,322 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks. I don't know. He's a 98.9 passer rating. His passer rating has always been pretty good, but I just don't see it with him. He's only started 3 games. I don't think this is, or he started 6 games in his career. I don't think it's worth all that much money, and I certainly don't think you should guarantee him a starting spot. It's moves like this that make me always baffled by what the Dolphins are doing. They get a new head coach, and now they're going with a backup starting quarterback. I don't know. I would have kept Tua. If this was your plan, then just keep Tua for 1 more year. But I guess this is cheaper. But I don't know. It's a 3-year deal. That's what makes no sense about it, is that it's a 3-year deal. It's one of those things that it's like, what are you doing, Miami? What are you actually doing? And finally, another news: Chiefs backup, former Colts starter Gardner Minshew. He is headed to the Arizona Cardinals, where I guess he's going to be the backup to Jacoby Brissett, or maybe he will compete for a starting job with Jacoby Brissett. I like the move. I think you can't go in with just Jacoby Brissett. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but he might be able to win that battle. Maybe not. Probably not. It'll probably be Brissett, but I don't know. We'll see. Kind of just random.